Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys stopping by the channel to check out today's video, because I'm going to give you guys my year in review of the sport, sort of the state of the industry, the state of our sport, sort of reflect a little bit on the past 12 months, give you guys my viewpoint on it, and definitely curious to get your guys' viewpoint on that as well in today's video. Also, guys, looking back into 2024 before we get started, I just want to extend a big thank you out there from me and my family for everybody that supported Intuitive Angling and my other two channels, The Fishing Teacher and Advanced Bass Fishing, over the past 12 months. All you guys that have been watching the videos and subscribing and using all the links I put in my video descriptions to support the channel. I really want you guys to know that that's not overlooked, and I really appreciate it, and thank you very much for helping me keep the YouTube channels up here on YouTube. It's been a very humbling experience, to say the least, so thank you for me and my family there. Okay, guys, I am going to try my best not to sound too negative on this, but this is very difficult because there is not a lot of positivity that has went on in the sport over the past 12 months, and I want to sort of get into that. And I sort of want to I want to talk about this from as removed as a neutral third-party perspective as I can, without getting too emotionally invested in it. But one of the things I can tell you as a participant, as a fan, as a casual observer of the sport, as somebody that loves the sport, I have been following it closely for over 50 years. I started when I was in grade school in the early 70s, and it's been a huge part of my life. So I have seen every single year the evolution of our sport and the state of our industry and the state of our sport for decades. I can tap upon that experience probably more than 99% of the people watching this video. I've been there, I've lived through it, I've seen it, experienced it on a very intimate level. So when I say that 2024 has been one of the most disappointing, negative, just bad years in the sport I've ever seen it, I'm saying that from experience, seeing both sides of the story. So I sort of want to get into that a little bit, why that is. First of all, excuse me, there's been let me talk a little bit about YouTube first, about YouTube, bass fishing YouTubers. Guys, 2024 was a brutal year for bass fishing YouTubers. I don't know if you guys realize that or not, but we have seen such a huge oversaturation on new people coming into YouTube as far as in the bass fishing genre, that the amount of competition for the viewers out there within the bass fishing community, it has gotten to an all-time high of toughness. And if you talk to any YouTuber out there, I don't care who it is, that every one of them have told me their views are down. It's tougher than ever. It's tougher than anybody. It's tougher than they've ever seen to get people to watch the videos. It's a very, very difficult year in the sport of fishing. And that's why you have seen a lot of bass fishing YouTubers, including myself, that we have veered off a little bit from just hardcore bass fishing techniques and strategies into other aspects of the sport, more opinion type videos, because that's what people want to hear. People do not want to hear about fishing videos. I guess everybody thinks they know everything they need to know about fishing, because everybody's views, I look back on other channels and my channels, and my fishing video views have dropped like a rock, specifically over the past year or two. And not just mine, all the other YouTuber guys I've talked to. It's just been an oversaturation. So given that, that's why you see a lot of opinion videos now from the bass fishing YouTubers, because that is a little bit more of a current event, holds people's attention a little bit more. And I guess that's just the reality of the situation as far as in terms of, what their appetites are for that. So let's talk a little bit about the past 2024 and why, in my opinion, it has been a suck year for the sport. And I know you guys get tired of hearing this, and because it's not like you can just drop it, but in my opinion, so much of the downswing and the negativity within the sport that we've seen over the past year is directly due to live scope and forward facing sonar. Don't tune out on me. I want to explain this in detail about why I mean this, because it's very all encompassing and a broad range. Now, Regardless what your opinion is on forward-facing sonar, the reality of the situation is the majority of bass anglers, now this has been verified by lots of different surveys and polls and this type of stuff, the majority of bass anglers don't want live scope and forward-facing sonar in competitive fishing or sport fishing. They see the negativity that it brings into our sport from a plethora of different viewpoints there. That is the foundation right there. What you've had a vocal, well-funded minority of people that have pushed this technology down the throats of people, and it's reverberated throughout the industry, causing negative effects. One of the biggest things that has caused in 2024, why it's been a suck year, is it has devastated fishing tackle sales. Forward-facing sonar is directly responsible. It's not inflation, it's not all stuff people try to gaslight it about. It's the fact that forward-facing sonar and its popularity has limited the lure categories that people use. People do not use a diversity of techniques that they did 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. That's why you see all the traditional bass fishing techniques that are associated with shallow water fishing, like crankbaits, spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, topwaters. All that type of stuff has tanked over the past year and has been replaced by forward-facing sonar minnows, drop shots, and a handful of other forward-facing sonar techniques. And as a result, it has severely kicked the tackle manufacturers in the nuts over the past 12 years. You had to talk to any one of them. And it even goes over to other aspects. For example, sunglass sales are down simply because people are not using sunglasses to sight fish and look at visible targets in the water because they're using live scope. So we have seen a very difficult financial season for the tackle manufacturers over 2024, and it is due to live scope, make no mistake about it. Next thing about that is the tournaments itself. 2024 was the worst year of all time to watch tournament fishing because what you had in it is 98% of the tournaments were dominated by the cheater box. And come Championship Sunday, if you guys watch Bassmaster Live, 9 times out of 10 on Championship Sunday, there would be a 4 split screen of 4 dudes staring down at their cheater box out there saying, there he is, there he is, there he is, oh, he's getting close, oh, there he is. That's what it's become. Tournament fishing has been relegated to a video game sport now. And I don't think a lot of people understand the impact this has had on the entire psyche of the bass fishing community. The negativity and the depression that it has created amongst the bass fishing community because they do not want to see this. It's like you're seeing this simply because the electronic companies are telling the tournament organizations that you're going to allow forward-facing sonar in your tournaments or we are not going to fund your tournament organizations. That's why you get it forced down your throat every Sunday. And it doesn't seem like there's going to be any indications whatsoever that is going to get any better at all with it. So looking back, simply from a standpoint of tournaments and standpoint of what we've seen in fishing here, it has been the worst year that we have ever seen in the sport in terms of the impact that forward-facing sonar is having on our fisheries. It's depleting our fisheries, it's taking the mystery and magic out of fishing, it's taking and destroying the traditional fundamental elements that make fishing great out. It's causing the sport to be an elitist sport. It's causing income disparity in the sport. Some anglers are able to spend $50,000, $60,000 worth of electronics on their boat, and other anglers can't afford $1,000 worth, and they're trying to compete on the same playing field. So the playing field, the unlevelness of the playing field from this financial disparity and the fact that it is turning bass fishing into an elitist sport is another reason 2024 has been a terrible year for the sport. So, I have seen a lot of different tournament organizations, the management change within those organizations. I have never seen in my entire 50 years of following tournaments and being privy to a lot of inside information within the tournament realm. I've worked closely with people that have ran tournaments in the past, back in the day, and I have never seen a more dysfunctional group of people that are running the major tournament circuits in this country than they are right now. It is it's one poor decision after poor decision. That's why you've had so many decisions made by these tournament organizations that they had to come back on and change their position on them because of the outrage that those decisions were made. It's just never ending. So we're sort of in a cycle or a period right now where we have a lot of really short-sighted, people within positions of power in this industry that are setting the agenda. And it all goes back, and I know you're tired of hearing it, but it all goes back to forward-facing sonar. Guys, forward-facing sonar has brought zero positivity into the sport. It has done nothing for the excitement of the ability to watch, fishing on TV. It's done nothing for the sustainability of our sport. It's done nothing to preserve everything that's intrinsically valuable what's in the sport. It's done nothing to create a more level playing field within the sport. It has not added anything to the sport positive whatsoever. The only thing that forward-facing sonar has done is add money to the pockets of the electronic companies and money to the pockets of the tournament organizations that are getting sponsored by it. Nothing more. And all the people out there, I feel sorry for them. They've been sucked into this line of BS thinking that this is the next latest and greatest thing when it's not. It diminishes the sport. It's an insult to the fish. It's an insult to our sport. It's an insult to the people that use it. It's absolutely the worst thing that has ever happened to the sport, and it has grown exponentially over 2024, and all indications point to the fact it's going to grow even more in 2025. The tournament organizations have made it very clear that they do not have the backbone to stand up against the electronic companies, so they're going to let them run the show pretty much, and you're going to see that in 2025 as well. You're going to see the tackle manufacturers in this country are going to suffer in 2025. With the proposed tariffs coming on board with Mexico and China and Canada in 2025, they're going to see prices of the lures go up, with the entire, no guardrails whatsoever on forward-facing sonar. You're going to see that impacted even more. You're going to see the tackle manufacturers suffer on top of the tariffs if those are instituted, with the fact that people are just continuing to use forward-facing sonar lures and have not divested into other type of lure categories. There's nothing on the horizon that's going to stop that. So that's the negative thing. Here's the good thing about it. Let me try to interject a little positivity in this, because I'm just calling it as I see it and the reality of the situation. Guys, don't try to spin this into some type of unicorn and rainbows, Pollyanna view thing. You got to see it for what it is. It can change. There's one thing that has to happen to change all this. You ban forward-facing sonar from sport fishing and competitive fishing, and you put forward-facing sonar in the hands of the conservation departments. Those are the only people that need it. If you take forward-facing sonar out of fishing, you strengthen the entire fishing industry. The entire fishing industry rebounds as far as on a sales level. It also makes people have to actually go out to fish and find fish. So the entire enthusiasm and the approach to fishing changes. It opens up an entire new world. Instead of going out on the lake and putting down your cheater box and scanning out in the middle of the cove and calling that bass fishing, you are actually forced to actually go have to fish to find fish with the diversity of techniques, understand seasonal patterns and movements, and the fishing industry and the entire bass fishing genre resets itself because it's been thrown off kilter by this forward-facing sonar. So all the problems that we talk about can be solved by getting rid of forward-facing sonar, and it's easier said than done, but replacing the management, some of the people that are making these inept decisions within the tournament organizations, replacing those people that actually have experience in the sport, critical thinking skills, and actually have the best interests of the sport in mind rather than how much profit they can make every quarter. So I know that a lot of people always say, oh, Randy, you just beat the horse in the dead. That's all you talk about is forward-facing sonar. That's because it's the biggest threat to the sport we've ever seen. Regardless if you want to admit it or deny it or agree with it or don't agree with it, that is the reality of the situation, and we have seen it. And what has happened in 2024 is we have seen the impact of this greater than we have any other time of the year. We have seen so many veteran professional anglers exit the sport because they are sick of it. We have seen so many tournament anglers that have screamed at the top of their lungs, some of them, and some of them have, kept quiet because they're scared of repercussions. But we have seen so many anglers out there that have resisted and railed against this technology, and it has fell on deaf ears. So we are I'm just telling you right now, guys, we're in a dark period in the sport. You can try to sugarcoat it, and you can try to say, Randy, you're negative, I'm unsubscribed, I'm tired of your negativity. Fine, go ahead and do that. But if you want to deny the reality of what's going on, that's not going to do anything to put us in a better position moving forward. We should focus on this sport, a lot of different things. We should focus on the sustainability of the sport for handing it off better than we found it to the next generation. And that comes with, being good stewards of our waters, being conservationists, being environmentalists, not putting people in positions of power politically that are going to undermine our environment and destroy our very playing field. It comes from just making good, wise decisions that are not based upon what it is here for you and me right now. We got to be looking forward to what's going to happen 50 years from now. When your children and your grandchildren want to go out and bass fish, every single move that we make right now needs to be with them in mind. And right now, it is not with them in mind. When you've got these exploding tournament organizations and overfishing and overpressure and technology that completely removes any mystery from fishing whatsoever, and you've got a business model within the sport that's undermining, lure companies and tackle industries, just to appease one particular industry, that's not a good recipe for anyone out there. So anyway, guys, sorry for the gloom and doom, but sometimes sometimes it's just tough love, man. You got to hear what you don't want to hear, because you're never going to affect change unless you put things in position that are going to affect change. And right now, we are not going to affect change for the positive unless we get rid of forward-facing sonar from the sport of bass fishing. It has no business here. It's destructive to our sport on every level. And if you are one of those anglers out there that have gotten sucked in to thinking it's some type of a normalized, just another tool, I highly encourage you guys to reevaluate your worldview and just think about it, and think about something beyond your own self-gratification of going out and catching fish. There's no doubt that forward-facing sonar makes it easier to catch fish, but that's not what it's about. We're not here to make it easier for you to catch fish. We're here to educate you as an anglers and make the experience rewarding and fulfilling, and to ensure that this sport goes on after we're gone. That's the responsibility that we have to it. And just because technology has advanced to the point where it makes it easier to catch fish, that does not make it a good thing. And we have seen that, and we're going to see it even more coming up next year. So, guys, let me let you all think about it. We'll talk later.